buddy. No way. Your house looks good. Yeah. I see, so, yeah, I see it on my wall. I don't walk very fast, so I see a lot of it.
Policies.
How's it going? There you go.
Hey, good evening. Question. Are you allowed to comment on people that speak, or you just listen? People that speak on their, sign up. Oh, are you want to comment on what they're saying? Yeah. Well, if you get behind them, the general comment, I said, you got. Oh, we are allowed to get clarification. Clarification from Homer rules. If the person's saying something and we don't understand it, or don't have the full story, we're allowed to question it. That's it. Also allowed to combat misinformation. I understand that, but for example, there's a question in my little why when I go to your website I find financial statements for May, nothing for June, nothing for July, nothing for August. You can't comment on that because it's messed up. You don't have to comment on that. But you can. Yes. Anything that anyone says in there 2 minutes, you can comment on it. You can. Right. If you want to. Okay. You want to answer that question now, and I will ask. Actually, I'm going to answer the financial report? Okay, all right. Good deal. Thank you.
One in the front does that for or mine or I gotta talk to you. Okay. Yeah, I got it.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I don't shake my hair right now. I see CNC point replacement. They went in yesterday and they spots all in the did a million shots. But they made that thumb move.
Good.
Well, the dead man hurt. So my kids have these terrible. This is terrible. So, but I've had it for a lot of them, so they must. I've got to place another word on the basketball.
That's the mark.
How you doing? Oh, she's in a Zoom meeting with a different organization.
I'm good. I'm just.
How are you? Well, I think we're signing in. I'm reading the directions. Some lives are fine.
It's okay.
Once you ride,
Living the dream. What do you want to do? Let's go. I know, Will David sent me this morning. So that's what he flew today. It's from Italy. He's in college for aviation. So,
How you doing, sir? Just hanging out.
Oh my gosh, where is never? Yeah, Will David's in school for commercial pilots. His bachelor in aviation, basically, and then that's what he flew today. Central Texas College. And his instructor is so like, it's good. It's really good. He's hard on me. And I'm like, I said, but you know what? You light up whenever he gives you a two-up. Yeah, but I know it's not just like, when you go into somewhere and they get the hard on something. And to make sure that you know it's in and out. So, yeah, he's loving it. His former roommate is kid from Dripping Springs. They have a lot of same interests in aviation. Because see, their bachelor's degree will be taken from the A&M. Yeah, and Natalie's a senior. She wants to go to Stephen F. Austin. She's working on her early experience there. So, crossing that finger because she's going to there. She's doing nursing. She'll be devastated when they get in there. I know. It's crazy. And then we'll be in the best of the summer.
First time I seen him, I drove up in the car and I said something to me. So I ran through the house and it's
And you know they say that.
we have just two things on the agenda tonight. We have an actual report and then operations. Good evening and welcome. We've already started the meeting, but you couldn't hear me probably. We have just two items on the agenda tonight. One is a report from our operations folks, and the other is a financial update, which I will provide. I have some handouts. When we get to that point, I will provide those to you, and we'll go through that. We'll take a couple of questions from that, and then we'll wrap up the meeting. So our operations folks are running late?
Yeah, I guess so. I just texted them, so Cal and Andy. So
All right.
I don't know.
Okay. Shall we
If
proceed
not,
with the other?
if not, we have the report, we can read it, and then publish it. Or you can do the financial first.
We can do that.
Good. Let me see what we're going to say.
Roll call, please.
Yeah.
We have a couple of paper. Would anyone else like to sign up to speak?
Good.
Roll call. All right, let's do a roll call. Jeffrey here.
I'm here, thank you.
Scott, are you here? I'm here. Ryan's here. We're all here. We have a quorum. We don't need one. We're not voting on anything tonight as far as I know. So the first item on the agenda is to hear general public comments. And so we'll go in order here. Non-agenda. Okay, so Alan Hicks would you like to come up and speak.
I think that I want to give some of my time to one of the others.
I'm sorry?
I'm gonna give some of my time to one.
Oh, you can't do that. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Our policy that's in there has been there for I don't know how long. But really, what we'd like to do is hear from you. Rather than one person for 30 minutes, 10 people for 3.
Well, so, PUC does it that way. Commissioner's Court does it that way. Every meeting I've ever attended does it that way. So,
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
so all the meetings that I've attended before, if you sign up and you want, somebody may have 5 minutes they want to talk about, and you want to give them a couple of minutes, every meeting I've ever been to, that's permissible. So we're different.
It is up to the board to extend anything like, yes.
Well, then I'll take my 3 minutes. This, for example, folks, what's going on now? Change the rules in the middle. We have Mr. Walker, whom a lot of us supported out here. We get him elected. I'm going to be transparent. He's one of the world's worst to yell, sit in the back of the room, yelling at Gomez about all the different violations he was committing and not being transparent. And this is our water company. And if you elect me, it's going to be your water company. And here we have changing rules. I just will comment one thing. I don't know if y'all saw Danny's email. Public Utility Commission is having a hearing on October 3rd to appoint a temporary manager. Long overdue, but I noticed it wasn't on the agenda tonight. And I'm guessing that's probably because they didn't want everybody to know about it and have to answer a few questions about what's going on. And the only thing I can think of there is after 41 years of dealing with the other side of the, sitting on this side of the table and dealing with the people on the other side, usually when someone don't want to talk about something, they're hiding something. So that would be my question, is what is that from the folks out there if they don't want to talk about the upcoming hearings, what the temporary manager means to our corporation. I know that there's nothing else on about the IRS either. I think y'all all remember, talked a few months ago when there was questions about who provided information to the IRS. That was me. And again, it's not to go after anyone in particular, it's to hold folks accountable for the position that we're in today. Not just these guys, I'm not putting it all up on these guys here. There were a lot of boards before them that did things that kept building until we got to the point where we're at now. And I don't know about the rest of you guys, I ain't gonna let that go. Someone's gonna be held accountable for the position that we're in. Danny Flunker and I attended the Vernon County Commissioners hearing a few weeks ago. I spoke to them about this same stuff. I again requested the Attorney General's office to be involved in investigating the corruption going on out here. But I doubt anything's going to happen because I think the corruption here goes all the way up to the county commissioners. Nothing's going to be done. Then I went over and talked to the Vernon County tax assessor. I provided him with all the exact same information that I gave the IRS and said, the IRS is looking at this. There was some tax fraud going on. We may owe the county a little bit of money too from the water corporation. And I requested they take a look into it. Again, people need to be held accountable for what they did.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Alan. Before we go, do you have any questions or clarification from that speaker?
Well, just to let everybody know that this afternoon, the petition for order for approving a temporary manager, the grant of the extension request came through today. The hearing will not be on October, as they said. This came through from the ALJ at around 3 o'clock today. You can probably find it on the public website. It is going to be delayed. They don't know when it's going to be rescheduled because the acting attorney is out on, has requested a leave, a pre-hearing.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Yeah, so this just came in. Alan, you probably wouldn't have seen it. It came in like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock today. So just a little clarification on that.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Patty Flunker.
Just ad-libbing, so hopefully I can remember. I have 3 things I want to talk about. First, financials that you have online, I've tried to download them and they download as January 2024 financials. So what your website shows is not correct on the financials. Let's see, on what Alan was saying about giving his minutes, when did that policy change? Can y'all tell me?
The actual policy is over on the calendar.
Has it been in place for most of the year?
It's been there a while, yeah.
So I find it interesting that when I was on the board, the day that I resigned, along with Julie, y'all had no problems letting Keith Hopkinson, who's not even a member, so many people were giving him their 3 minutes, and he went on for about 20 minutes just coming after me on why I shouldn't be on the board, harassing me. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's like different rules for different people. They enforce rules how they want to do it. Because if it was in place back in March, then you pick and choose. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. It's not fair. And it's been noted.
Yeah, I mean, for the meetings that I have chaired, I'm still getting used to the process here.
Brian, isn't those rules on our website?
Yeah, and they're right over there printed out.
We voted this in when?
And they're also on the
When did
website.
this get voted on?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
When
they
did we vote on
were in
this?
place before this board, Bruce, just to let you know.
So
They've been in place for a long time.
So Jeff was violating the rules.
What I'm saying is selective enforcement.
That's right.
It's what I'm saying. It's
So,
selective enforcement.
you're not one
It's
of
the
the
story
things.
of Windermere. We enforce these rules for these people, but we don't for these people. I don't know when it's ever going to end. It's always been like that. And then finally, my last comment has to do with officers. So obviously you're the presiding officer, and well, you are because you hold the meeting, so you're overseeing the meetings, and that's considered the presiding officer. And I find it interesting that it's been several months now, and we still don't have a president, and we still don't have a secretary treasurer. We just have a vice president. And on just a little research I did the other day, Nonprofit Code 22, Business Code, says that you shall have a president and a secretary treasurer. And then when you fill out your IRS forms, you're also supposed to say who your officers are. And we continue to operate with them, and I think you owe everyone here in the membership an explanation on why you guys aren't voting to put in a president and a secretary treasurer.
Whereas we're open it to offer it for people to join the board.
No, we've got enough right here.
No, we don't.
We've got vice president, secretary treasurer, and we've got president.
And
There
we
you
also
go.
need
Okay,
two
so
directors.
before we get too much further, this could devolve into a question and answer. Are you okay, Pat?
That's it. That's all I want to
Thank
say.
you very
But
much.
saying you don't have enough people is incorrect.
None of the right people.
A lot of the stuff that we disagree on is a matter of priority and time. It's just priority and time. Okay,
It was on the agenda a few meetings ago, to have a secretary treasurer and a president. It was on the agenda and y'all mixed it.
That's right.
okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Andy. Mr. Billingsley,
Yes.
would you like to speak for 3 minutes?
Oh, yes. I would like to know when we have these meetings in Austin, not we have the meeting, but the Utility Commission has the meetings, and they put us on the agenda. Well, I had not seen any of you people down there.
Of us?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So why have y'all no interest in coming?
The no interest part is a step beyond where I was with you when you were talking, okay? I have an interest, but I have a full-time job as well.
Well, that's understandable. You have a full-time job, but you have time to make people here come when you want to hold a meeting, when a lot of other people have full-time jobs. So that they can't come to the meetings here? Is that how we do full-time jobs?
Okay, so.
But the bottom line is, you have no interest in the organization to come to Austin to meet with the Utility Commission.
That might change. Thank you.
It might change, might grow on chickens.
I used to raise chickens, I know what that is.
So, if you people will be so kind as to come to the meeting whenever they appoint their new administrator,
Yes.
you will come to that meeting.
It's because he
Can you
has to.
say that a little louder, Mr.
Yes, Bill,
He has
I will
no
be
choice.
attending.
He has no
For
choice.
sure.
Okay.
But remember, these are only public statements. There is no agenda when you're talking. It's just like, you get 3 minutes to talk and that's it. I know, because I was the first one to do it.
Shut down.
I have nothing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, Danny Flunker?
All right, 12 reasons why the current WOWC board is unfit to lead, including Garceau's apparent Marxist and misogynistic tendencies and Walker's mismanagement. Number 1, chronic leadership vacancies. WOWC has been without a president, secretary, treasurer, or public information officer since March, leaving the organization in disarray. 2, non-compliance with PUC orders. The board's repeated failure to follow the orders from the Public Utility Commission prompted a petition for a temporary manager to take over. 3, destruction of evidence. Vice President Jeff Walker admitted destroying public information having to do with an IRS investigation, undermining transparency and accountability. 4, ballooning legal costs. Under Jeff Walker's leadership, legal expenses have skyrocketed to over $111,000 in a handful of months, $1,600 being spent on meeting agendas, often without proper adherence to the agenda. Staff turnover. Numerous key resignations have occurred under Walker's tenure, including 2 accountants, the manager, and 6 directors. Water management,
3 minutes,
mismanagement.
thank you.
Somebody want to give me their time?
Danny, what do you Danny?
Bruce is,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please don't.
Next speaker.
I am the next speaker, thank you.
Mark Carpenter actually is the next speaker.
All right, I'll pick up when it's Bruce.
Danny,
No, Brian, let me tell you something, Brian. Let me tell you something. You sat in that meeting where Jeff Walker let Keith Hopkinson berate Patty, and you never said a word.
I didn't.
That has been the way it's been done since 2019, and I'm not going to let you come in here and change it.
Okay, I'll just address one thing there. I was in the meeting.
And you didn't say a word.
And it's on video.
Right,
Anyone
and
can
you
go
didn't
back
say a
and watch
word.
it. If you think that Keith was berating Patty,
Patty.
And he's not even a member. He's
a
Jeff's
member.
attorney neighbor.
He's a member of the public. He's allowed to attend and
That's
speak.
right. That's
at the
right.
meetings. Okay. So
I'll pick up after.
Hang on a second, Brian, I need to comment on that. First off, for public record, he is not my personal attorney. He never has been, never was, he lives across from me. Let's clarify that. As far as the agenda items for the IRS, we will probably include those in our next meeting. We don't have an update since our last board meeting because things are work in process on that. So to adjust that. Also, the discussion about the agendas, we're contractually obligated in our letter of engagement with Carlton Group to have each of the agendas reviewed and scrutinized by the law firm. So I just want to make sure that everybody's clarified that. It's in the letter of agreement that was signed by Julie Newman, the president at the time, that is a requirement. As a matter of fact, there was one time we didn't do that and we kind of got scolded because they want to make sure that we fly right and we don't have any TOMA violations. Hence, that's why we are obligated or forced to do that. So, just for clarification, okay?
is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Mark, before you, may I just one clarification from Dan, okay? So this is the second meeting where you've mentioned me in terms of being a Marxist. Can you describe what you mean by Marxist? Because there is Karl Marx, of course. There's Lenin.
Groucho Marx.
Lenin. There's Stalinist Marxism, and there's the Marxism practiced in China and Korea. Which form of Marxism do you believe I represent?
It's amazing. Y'all are amazing. Point of order, we're going to follow these rules, and now you're sitting up here questioning me over what I said.
I'm asking for clarification.
The clarification is simple, Brian.
It's
You
My right
shut down,
under
you
Texas
shut
Open
down
Meeting
free
Act.
speech in these meetings. You got mad at me for calling Jeff a pathological liar.
I did.
Yeah, and you violated my free speech. You
That
shut down
I'm not so
no,
sure about. Go ahead.
Just leave it alone.
you shut down
So my
comments, delete
question is-
threads. You're a Marxist.
My question is a point of clarification from you, please. Would you please inform these people? I have to admit, I did research into this. It's very difficult going.
I thought his 3 minutes was
How do
up.
you do that when you have a
Hey, I thought
full-time
his 3
job?
Our
minutes was up.
system is a very
Your time is up.
difficult.
Can I finish up my thing now?
I'd like to know
Don't
why
answer,
you
Danny.
believe.
He won't let you talk. Why you
Yeah,
talking?
you don't let anybody else talk. You delete comments, you delete threads. You don't deserve an answer.
That's an answer.
Okay, that's
My turn to speak.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay.
Jeff, Brian, and Scott. As you know, my name is Mark Carpenter, and I own 325 Kendall Drive. At the Windermere Oaks Water Supply Corporation board meeting held on Friday, February 10th, 2023, I addressed the board regarding the unjust charges related to the standby fee imposed on my property. First, let's get some facts straight, which you seem to continually ignore. Past water service, the lot in question had water service in the past. In fact, I have reminded you on numerous times. The purchase condition, when I bought the property, the foundation was intact, although the house had been destroyed by fire. The water meter was still in place at the time of purchase, but recently, the meter has been removed. I am left questioning who took my water meter without my authorization, and who gave the green light for this action to take place. Because at that meeting that I spoke at, that water meter was there. I actually have a picture of it, and I have the serial number of it. Sorry, flip page.
Hey, Mark, excuse me, while you flip your page, was that meter at 325, Kendall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Emails ignored. I have sent numerous emails to this board directly to George Burris, but I have not received a single satisfactory response. All I get is a vague assertion that you have the authority for Windermere Oaks POAs and CCRs. Really, is that it? The tariff specifies, according to our tariff, a standby fee is defined as a monthly charge addressed on each lot within a subdivision in the corporation's lawful surface area, where a real estate convent, deed restriction, and other agreements with the landlord chain and title creates an obligation to pay monthly fees pending an initiation of actual water and or sewer service. Sorry. Let me be clear, this property has already initiated actual water service. It had water service when I bought the property. Mysteriously disappeared. It has not only initiated service, but also paid equity by the buy-in fees by the previous owner. The initiation refers to the first time. This condition has already been met. Legal option I have, in my opinion, from the Windermere OPOA attorney, especially stating that you do not have the authority to charge these fees and that the CCRs of Windermere Oaks POA do not grant you that power. Yet despite all this, you have taken the step in placing a lien on my property. While it might not have been enacted by this current board, it was obviously the previous board prior to that, there are three of you that are eventually and obviously to the ignoring this mishandling with this utility. I demand that you remove the lien from my property by tomorrow and cancel all associated fees immediately. Failure to act will only reflect your unwillingness to correct the glaring mistakes and could potentially result in further legal action. Consider this your final notice.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
We got
Do you have
it?
comments?
Yeah, just to let you know, I just sent a note to Lori, we'll get to the.
Yeah, I think we'll
respond.
take care of that, remove the lien and.
Yeah,
pay
thank
any-
you.
any-
It's the first time we.
How
far as I know,
about
standby
all
fees
the
are
other
illegal.
members that you put liens on their
Jeff,
property?
this isn't the first time you heard about it. You were at that meeting that day when it was brought up to the
He was
previous
gonna
board.
stop meter sharing too.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Bruce?
If you're removing his, you have to remove everybody's.
Mine's more of the same. It's just selective harassment by the board. You know, you keep sending me notices that I was standby fees. Carol Foy's getting her water 75% off since 1995. Y'all don't do nothing about it. She even told me she was gonna come in and make it right and get a meter, and I'm sure Jeff talked her out of that. But anyway, it gets old. Constant harassment, sending me bills for standby fees that I don't know. You know, the airport doesn't have standby fees. Why? Why does some do? Why does some don't? Harassment. Quit it. Oh, and thanks for coming out on Saturday, folks. Oh wait, that's what Walker campaigned on Saturday. We didn't see one yet. Let's do Tuesday night when everybody's in Austin. They won't be here. That's it.
Again, comment? I'd like
Any
to comment.
questions?
I don't care what your comment is.
Yeah, well, I'm going to comment for the record. Yes, we do have Saturday meetings, Bruce. They're all published on the website. They were approved by the board back in 1st of February.
What are we doing here on Tuesday then?
Not every meeting. I'm saying every quarter there was one at Saturday, and that's how it was defined. It's been published on the website.
You know what I'm talking about. This is
As far as
bullshit having on
standby fees
weeknights.
in the airport, yes, standby fees.
You know what I'm talking about. You're circumventing the fact.
No, I'm not. I'm just
You're having a meeting on a weeknight. Nobody wants it. That's why nobody's here.
But anyways, Bruce, that was approved by the board back in February. I'm just
But
letting
where's
you
your
know.
campaign promise?
I'm just letting you know the board did that.
You're the board.
And we haven't changed it. I'm
You're
not
the
the board. There are other people on the board. I'm going to move on to the next one.
Since when did you
There are
not
standby
bulldoze
fees.
your way
You don't
through
need to
everything
stand
you
down
ever
and
did?
Brian, there's standby fees within the airport. It is one of the action items that we've asked the attorneys to, on their long laundry list of things to work on, is standby fees and where they have.
I need a letter from this board stating that I'm not due any standby fees, nor is there a lien on my property.
I think what we need to do is give our legal team to look at the whole
Of course,
standby
call them up.
issue.
Yeah, spend some more money.
I have it written down. So
Right, well, wait a second. Mark already said he has an email from, what did you say, from the POA attorney?
POA attorney, yeah, Teagle.
Yeah, but that's the POA attorney.
You charge it to Windermere Oaks
Yeah.
lots.
Well, we just said we'll take a look at it.
And Bruce had water service and got rid of it because of what was going on and put in a water tank. Just like Mark's had service, standby fees are for people that are going to get service in the future. Bruce is never going to get service from you again.
Okay, thank you. Mickey?
I've missed lots of meetings, so life is busy. I basically just saw something on Nextdoor about with PUC, and it just was kind of curious about what that looked like. If that's what the PUC, I don't know if they're saying you had to be taken over by management, or if it's a suggestion, or I really don't know because I haven't seen it. But what if that is the case? What does that entail? And I mean, the PUC pays someone to take things over.
No, we pay it.
Yeah,
They pay
Welsh
them-
will get
They
billed.
pay them so much
The
per,
members will get billed.
so much.
Well, that's what I was. That was my question of
They pay
what
them so
that
much per
entails.
tab.
Well, let me
Yeah, but we're gonna get
bill for your thousands of dollars worth of legal fees. That's where we're gonna get billed.
If you look at the order, it says $14 extra.
I thought it was 12.
Oh, it's 12? Okay, $12
go ahead.
extra.
Yeah, that was just my. I just wanted to know what that entailed and what it looked like on our end. If that, and then if that was a requirement or a suggestion or what. But I guess y'all will find out with that postpone.
This is the opening of yet another series of whatever happens next. And
Okay.
It should come up in the hearing,
if you go to the
how all this applies.
Ask them why
If you
it's
go to the
happening.
PUC website, you can download it and you can read the whole thing. It's quite long.
I figured it was long.
Yeah, yeah. But it repeats
Do y'all
itself.
all understand why this is happening by the PUC? Why they're recommending somebody to, it's because y'all have been
Utter
negligent
failures.
in everything that the PUC has required y'all to do.
Like
And so
I
that's
said-
why they're doing this.
Like
And
I
y'all
said,
need to
it's
all
the
just step
opening
down.
of
Y'all just
another
need to step
round
down.
of some discussions to come. There's no finalization yet.
There will be. There will be. Y'all just need to step down.
And then if there's
Mickey, if you'd like to, the details on it is docket 57065. If you want to go look at it in public, these will always get published on the website. You'll find them. This was the latest one that came down as I did a question today that came down around 3 o'clock. It is just a petition to have a hearing.
And then, I know that a lot of people are saying, to get more people on the board and things. have we sent anything out, sent help, I mean,
No.
I don't know anyone lining up to be on the board, but I just didn't know if there was anything sent out that, for any kind of applications of people that maybe wanted to be on the board. And it would not be me, but I'm just curious.
Would be lovely.
That maybe just send out saying you'd like to be on the board.
Yeah, we don't need a board anymore.
Okay,
I've missed so
Josie,
many because
it didn't mark, but it's just general comments or all of them?
Oh, I'm gonna take my 3 minutes, let me know when.
I won't either.
Ready? I'm finishing up Danny's little thing here. So water mismanagement, Walker gave away $1 million to Spectrum. I'm finishing, don't interrupt. Public Information Act violations, that's one of the reasons why PUC has come in to take over, because you guys are not adhering to what's required. And Jeff, you signed a 5-year notice with the PUC. Did you not read it?
Totally.
Well, then you didn't comply. So I have to understand why. Under website neglect, I have repeatedly said you guys need to update your financials and put them on the website. I don't know if they're there or not because I can't make heads or tails of what you guys are doing. Maybe that's your solution. Health and safety risk. The board has neglected significant water losses of near 30%, potentially creating health hazards for a community with no plans to cure the issues. Censorship of lack of transparency. Now I have my reasons why you guys are on the board. You're not on the board for the members of this community as far as I'm concerned. Okay, that's my opinion. I think that there's something underhanded going on here.
Yep.
And you guys just blatantly come out and you don't care. That's your opinion. You'll answer for that at a later point in time. I promise you. Censorship of language. Okay, that's your IRS investigation. The fact that you guys have not even taken any steps other than throwing out legal fees and costing us a ton of money, I don't see you guys doing anything except sitting there.
I've sent three responses to them. Okay,
Well, I'd like to see them on the website.
it's legal.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
My legal stuff is on my website, and I'm
That's
on
up
the
to you.
POA.
That's up to you.
Conflict of interest. There are concerns about board members prioritizing personal and external interest in overall community welfare. I've already addressed that. So, I call on this board to do one responsible thing that they have failed to do so far. Step aside and agree to appoint a temporary manager. Now, Mickey, here's what I'm going to tell you about a temporary manager. Patty has done her due diligence. She is in the water industry. If anybody knows anything at all, it is Patty. And I'm going to tell you right now, what ends up happening is this is due to a lack of transparency and information provided by the board. We continue to spend thousands of dollars on legal fees. What's the difference between you and Joe, Jeff? I just want to know. We're going to start calling you Joe Jr.
Thank you. Any points of clarification?
Yeah, that will be a point of clarification. On the website, it's called the Director's Report. It's 100 pages. It'll give you the water loss for that given month. In the month of October or August, it just came out 6.3% was the water loss. It's pretty continuous that way. So these are things that you can find on the website. Is our website a little disarray? Yeah, it's on our list of things to address. But we're trying to publish as much as we can right on the website, as you noticed.
It is a mess, though. And frankly, that happens anytime you start a repository and you don't think things through. You start throwing files in there, and very soon it becomes unruly and you have trouble finding stuff. That has to be fixed.
you have 3 tabs that you've worked on recently. The PUC tab doesn't have anything of what's going on it, nothing. And the legal matters tab, you quit putting the legal invoices on in June. And the financial tab is, like Patty said, the last financials that are on there is April.
It would help, Danny, if you could develop a hierarchy of file structure, groups, and give it to us, and maybe we could implement it and straighten things out.
I take care of integrity now, and I get everything loaded up as quick as I can.
Okay, thank you. All right.
That's one question. What's the plans for the fixing the infrastructure for the water system?
The infrastructure?
Yeah.
I'm not aware of an actual plan.
Yeah, we have a operational audit that we have lined up, but it's gonna take $30,000 to do it. That would fill our budget. So right now, we're still in the whack-a-mole things. They have identified items. Jeff will talk about that in the update. So it's not like we're ignoring it. We're trying to keep stuff going. And this is an old system. Not designed correct.
Okay, so that's the end of the public speaking general comments.
I thought we signed up.
You did, Mark.
Thank you.
Yep.
May I?
What is it about you? Please come up. Just checking. My apologies.
I'm Marvin Lewis. For those of you that don't know me, I've been around. My wife and I have been around for about 20 years. I asked Bruce if the financial information would be meaningful. He said yes. He's going to talk at length about that, so I won't talk about that. I am curious to know about whether you fellows, if you want to comment on what kind of a relationship you have with the PUC staff, whether you're able to talk with them or whether they don't want to talk to you. It would be nice, I think, for us to know what kind of a relationship you have and whether they will listen to you on an informal basis as opposed to doing things that take much longer. The other thing is, and this has been mentioned by others, I think you guys ought to give serious consideration to holding a complete board meeting to put new members on the board. I really think that there are some people here that would probably do it if you guys weren't there, because the animosity between you and more than just a couple of people on here is so much that I think that it would be a great service to you guys if you guys said, let's start from scratch. Let's hold a board meeting for all 5 seats, and you guys can run again if you like, sure. Thank
So
you.
you're talking about holding another election?
Yes.
Before the planned one in what, February? There's one planned for February.
February?
Yes.
No, sir. How about
Just like
October?
last
How about November? But
I think we
again,
can
sir,
hold
you
one
will.
any time. I don't know.
The folks generally don't have confidence in you anymore. They just don't.
We need a manager. We need to appoint a
We need
manager.
a board.
Yes,
We need a board. If you guys are on it, that's fine.
How's that worked out for us in the
Maybe
past?
we'll have
I think the
5.
board
Maybe we'll have
thinks-
some people that have different ideas, or maybe that these folks are willing to listen to. Maybe we don't want to listen to you guys.
Thank you, Mark.
No, did you want to address it?
Yeah, oh, the relationship with the PUC. Yes. I spoke directly with Merritt Lander last Thursday for roughly about an hour about the petition. What's it about?
What about these 2 fellows?
I don't know.
You and
So
the
let
gentleman next to you?
me talk just a little bit about my relationship to the board. I kind of came at this in a strange way, right? I mean,
With the PUC?
no,
You
this
said
board.
it's with the board.
Yeah, so in a strange way, right? I mean, I sat in a one meeting, wanted to help because the board was locked. They couldn't move ahead without a third vote in the report, right? And then a couple days later, a week, I didn't formally resign. I didn't know I had to. But I started thinking about, well, maybe I can help out. So I've kind of been a free agent moving around trying to make progress where I can.
Unfortunately, I think that you're tied
Free
to
agent?
that board right there.
Where's the free
I
agent?
would argue with your
I didn't
intent,
know
or
we had
maybe
free
even what.
agents.
Yeah, that was in our bylaws.
Okay, so, yeah, I'm sorry. Marvin, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, I'm just saying that I'm not trying to impugn you or what you're doing. What I'm saying is that this entire board, I think, the three of you have lost credibility, and really because of that, maybe are less able to do the things that you could do because of that. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe you ought to clean the slate and start over. If you're reelected, that's great. Maybe other people would step up if they thought maybe that you guys wouldn't all be there. Okay?
Yeah.
The other thing, Jeff, is that it seems that every meeting I come to, that you always say that something that I just got this afternoon, last night at midnight, you just held up a piece of paper. Well, it happens all the time, Jeff. All the time. It seems to me that somehow you might have something in advance and that maybe you could talk about instead of waving it as to say, I just got this.
A lot of times it just comes in, but it's circumstances.
Then maybe you should plan to get it a little early.
Well, most of what, like today, that was a PUC filing. I had no control over it. A lot of the things are that they come from the PUC, they come from our financial team, they come from, you know, the real estate group. It's when I can get them. I mean, we try to get information.
I'm sorry, who is the real estate group? You just said real estate
No,
group.
they're real estate.
You said real estate group.
I said team. I said team. I said
real estate group.
Okay, well, that'd be current Van Eman, the gentleman who's listing it.
That's not a team, that's one guy.
Well, he's
That's his friend.
You talked about your
Okay,
legal
sorry.
team. How many law firms or lawyers that always use the word team? Legal team. Who's the legal team?
Thank you. I have been dying to know that.
I'm just curious.
Who is the legal
All right,
team?
so,
John Carlton?
his group.
Well, then why don't you just say the attorneys at John Carlton?
Well, I mean,
The attorneys at John
which is
Carlton.
easier, it's fine.
Yeah, we'll change the narrative. We'll change the narrative. You know, in regards to the operation report, Marvin, this is the operation report I just got last night.
From who? From who?
From AWR. This came in, I can show you the email.
I don't want to see the email.
Well, I know, but
they work for you.
I know, but we asked.
They work for you guys.
But we asked for this.
One small item,
Yes.
they were planning to be here.
Yeah, they were planning to be here.
And that's another example of the fact that
Mismanagement.
they work for you, they work for us. They don't tell you they're not coming. You tell them you work for us, you come. We need the report before I go in front of these people in 3 hours. You know? Just don't wave a piece of paper at us and say, I just got this. Anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is 3 minutes up yet?
Good job.
Depends on who you are, you get the full 3 or an extra 7.
Okay. All right, so the next item on the agenda is our operations report. Would you like to speak in the
Yes. This again will be published on the website, as the last one was. This was emailed to me last night.
Wait, are we on an agenda item?
Yes.
Will we get to speak beforehand? The people that signed up?
That is true. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. Again, it's my fault. All right? So, all right. My apologies. All right, so let me get the agenda list again. All right, so Alan Hicks is all agenda items.
I'll wait. I'll just listen to what y'all have to say.
You wait to what?
I'll just listen to what y'all have to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Patty Flunker.
And this is in regards to operation, right?
Yes. Stay on top.
So, I mean, the operations reports are on the website, so we should be able to get them. If you're not getting them, then it's on you. But I get them, I pull them down, and I look at what AWR puts in those reports. And it's interesting because I don't ever really hear them talking about some of the meat in these reports. Like in March, the report talked about we got to get this stuff fixed. And then in June, it said we got to get this stuff fixed. And in August report, it says we have been requesting you guys to get this fixed, and it still needs to get fixed. I mean, one report in August said because of the release of the water from the dam in Marble Falls, they're having a whole bunch of issues with turbidity. And I said this last time, I spoke about the turbidity. They said it's going to cost about $17,000, $18,000 to repair that. And they haven't taken a vote yet on this. So if they paid it, or they're doing it, They did it without a vote, but AWR makes it appears to me, someone in the industry, that this is a serious problem, our turbidity. And I mean, they should be communicating specifically these details to you. And yes, it requires money to fix this. And I guess, yeah, we don't have money. But let me tell you the flip side of that. I watched their financial meeting the other day on Zoom. They have it online. They don't know who's coming or who's going with paying bills. They didn't know who had the checkbook. Does Renee have it? Does Jeff have it? Who's writing the checks? It's not being posted in QuickBooks correctly. I mean, I was flabbergasted. And so that's why their financials are always so upside down and lopsided. And then another part of that is 100 members that we have today weren't members when the rate appeal or when the rates went in. So that means those 100 people should not be getting the refund until when they tied in. Do you know how much money they would have been able to put in their pocket the first month? So that's 100 people times what, $80 refund? So 100 times 80? So how much money is that? Exactly. They could have had in their pockets the first month. And some of those didn't tie into, I don't know, later on. Times that by 5, just 5 months. $40,000. Those people should be getting their refunds down the road when they tied in. 2 years, 3 years, whatever. So they're doing this to themselves. We have the money, but they are giving everybody a refund right now that shouldn't be getting it. Getting that refund. And what are they doing? They're not taking care of our infrastructure. And that's the real story you'll never hear from them.
Thank you, Patty. And that's reality.
Yeah. Bill, 3 minutes to speak on operations.
Well, with your neglect, I don't have the time to even go to the water board meeting in Austin. I don't know how to address you gentlemen, because you signed up to do this. It's volunteer, and we appreciate volunteers doing this. But damn it, you've got to see after the business. And all these problems that occur is because they're not seen after. So if you can't see after them, cut yourself loose from it. No one's asking you to work for nothing. And everybody will agree that unless you're totally rich, you probably have, like everybody else, you have to work. So if this is a far too burdensome on you, cut loose. Let's get up.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. Danny Flunker.
I'd like to talk about this. I'll tie it in somehow, but I don't remember what the date was, but Bobby and I and Chomsky were out here helping fix a leak out here, and it was cold. And one of the AWR guys rolled up, and Bobby might be able to fill in the gaps. My memory's not great anymore. This guy told us everything was wrong, everything that needed to be replaced. And Jeff had promised us that was going to be handed to us in like a week or two. And then all of a sudden it's gone. It's never talked about. And I just recently, I don't remember where I saw it on the website, said both fire hydrants, neither one of them work. It said they needed 3 of the 4 turbidity pumps replaced. Most of these valves don't work anymore. And where'd that go, Jeff? What happened to all that? Bobby, you were there. You heard it straight out of the guy's mouth.
It was right at the freeze, whatever the big freeze was last year.
Wasn't that in 21?
It was 23. It was after. It was after Jeff got elected. Jeff was on the board. In fact, I called Jeff from up here when we were fixing the leak. The guy spilled his guts, spilled his beans, and Jeff said we were going to get this report, and we never got anything because he doesn't want anybody to know how bad it is.
Well, we do, because the head of AWR spoke at that March meeting and said your infrastructure is 40 years old and you've got serious problems. If you guys were there, remember that? That's what he said.
Okay. Anything else, Dan?
Nope.
Thank you. Mark?
Yeah, I'd like to see what the 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year plan is going to be for the infrastructure. Because when that leak happened outside my property, or on my property actually, last winter, it was during that, when they were putting the cable in and somehow hit something over there. The water main over by my house is not even contractor grade piping, it's electrical piping. So we could consider most of the infrastructure in this community maybe is plumbed like that, garbage. And is probably
Wait.
to disintegrate any second. So, you know, we need to get a handle on all these millions of dollars we've wasted on lawsuits. It's criminal. What the passport is doing, and you know, and I don't know if it's criminal what you're doing, but you know, if you don't have the time to put into it, you shouldn't volunteer, you shouldn't be on a board, because that's like any other job. It is a job, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to do it. And if you don't have the time and effort to do it, then you shouldn't be on it. If you can't give 100% to this community, then this community is failing by not being on the board.
And we needed 150%, quite honestly, from the passport. So if you weren't willing to give it, you shouldn't be on it.
And then, you know you're trying to play catch up. That's the problem. People are serving on the board that don't really know what it takes to run a water company. And that's the problem. We're playing catch up all the time. And it's going to hit us one day. We're going to have a major failure in this community. I don't know what it'll be, but we're going to be without water for a long
We'll
time.
have to truck water in.
Yeah, and that's gonna cost us a heck of a leg. I know this because Spicewood Beach had that done for 3 years.
By the way,
So what does it take for you guys to come to reality?
hey, I was,
That's all I have to say.
Anything from you for that one?
No, I mean, it's all about how much money we got. We don't have a lot, so.
But it doesn't,
I'm
it
sorry,
doesn't
sir, I
deter
don't
you
know
from
your
picking
name.
up the phone and calling a lawyer every second.
Bobby.
We don't.
Now, Bobby didn't sign up.
no, I didn't. This hasn't done anything, dude. It's in any customize or anything. I was at a friend of mine's condo outside of Colorado, and that the water department, the city water people said nobody could sell anything in this condo. There were about 50 single, maybe 75 single-story condos. They said nobody could sell anything in here until all the repiping was done. Everybody there got assessed $24,000. They all had it paid. He was pretty well off. He wrote them a check, but I don't know if they had other arrangements. If things like that can happen, or it happened up there in Colorado, I know that's a long way, but that's almost where we're headed to.
Hey, Bobby, tell your friends there's some vacant lots in Windermere. He wants to bring that capital.
He already owned one that burned down over here at one of the condos.
So, thank you, Bobby. Bruce? Sorry to interrupt you. Your turn to speak on operations?
28%.
What's that?
28%.
Okay, explain
Impressive.
yourself.
You're losing 28% of your water according to the PUC.
What is that?
That
I don't
report,
understand that.
that report came from TCQ.
TCQ?
Yeah, I think it was TCQ.
Texas Board of
It's,
Development Board.
was it Texas?
I don't know.
Anyway, you go to that link that he was talking about. I put it on next door. You click on that link and go through it, and it has all the attachments. It didn't come from them because I don't trust any documents they give me.
Anything else, Bruce?
Did I already say 28? That's all I gotta say.
That's all. Okay, thank you.
You want to address that DECQ report?
If you'd like, you would help.
Yeah, this was the TCEQ report that we received on the 12th. Sorry, Marvin, I just got it. Dated.
Of course.
Of course, it just came out. I had AWR review it, so I had to go to them for their comments. It actually went to Rich Schaefer, but it went to our offices, and it finally was forwarded on to me as a date stamp. This report, I will have this published on the website, as well as AWR's response, which came out yesterday. So they responded.
Are you angry with me?
No, I'm not. No, I just want to make sure
You're giving me the evil eye.
No, I'm just messing with you.
Tell the gentleman to look at the entire article.
Okay,
please.
well, okay. Well, I'm just letting everybody know, I'll look over this way, that there is a response that's going on to this TECQ report from AWR, that they responded
Can't
to
keep
this.
your eyes open.
They responded to this back in, I'll just do this, Marvin, that they responded in August, and somehow, I don't know, it's all in here that AWR explained it, but that's the latest on the AWR. So, it's there. Not my doing, it's directly from them and signed by them and so on. We'll put it on the website.
Hopefully get that straightened out.
Yeah.
May I just say something else, please? You know, then maybe it's not your fault, so maybe you ought to go to the TCEQ or the PUC or whomever it is, and say, we're waiting for these things to share with our members. Please tell us when you're going to get them to us, so then we can have it, we'll have it available to talk, and not wave it at us and say, well, we
It
just
should
got
be,
it.
it should get up on the website.
Right. Yeah.
But we're here to listen and to learn.
Yes.
We're not here to tell you to tell us to go to the website.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's a good point, thank you.
I think it was going to be part of their operations report, because Tammy was going to talk about that, because she was the one who responded to the TEC, this particular document that just arrived. So, we have to rely on the experts that we have hired.
Can you guys make a motion to switch, do the finances? What do you have on the financials you're doing? So, I mean, is this your report,
No. We've got, we kind of need to go through the operations report.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to read it word for word.
No.
We'll put it on the website. Everybody can read it. There's not anything, drastic about it. If you're ready to go, we're done with public
You all
comment.
done with comments?
No.
Oh, okay.
Mickey,
Oh, no.
Public comment on operations?
No.
non-agenda items, right, got it, okay.
None.
Marvin has non-agenda items.
Okay.
Okay.
That's an agenda item, so we're done.
Okay. That's non-agenda as well. Okay, well, that's it. We can proceed.
Okay, operations report. I'll make it brief. This report will be published on our website. I want to look at Marvin. The big highlights of this is AWR was acquired by a company called Sci Environmental. So they're coming on board. They're another operator within Houston and this area. You can see all the details. They operate 130 utility districts. So a larger operator swallowed up a smaller operator. That's what took place. Next thing is the drought update. We could, now that the LCRA has lowered its drought standards, we could vote and to approve 2-a-days.
Up to there.
2-a-days on watering. That's what they're recommending that we do, is to follow the LCRA standards on 2-a-day waterings. So you'll be able to go through that. One of the things they identified.
Twice a day or twice a week?
Twice a week, I'm sorry. Very good clarification.
That's different.
My bad. Yeah, no, twice a week. Yeah, thank you for that clarification.
You can now bathe twice a week.
Yeah, that's it. As far as the water plant, there are some outstanding things that they would like to do. We should put that on our next agenda item and see where we're at with our financials, but we've been kind of waiting for the grand finale of the financial reporting that's going to come out.
Can't we put as an agenda item to vote on an amount that they can do without our specific approval each time?
Well,
in other words, they got stuff coming up all the time.
Yeah, but
And
according to
this is critical equipment.
yeah, according to the report, they need specific amounts because they have specific proposals.
Yeah, I know
they've
that,
asked
but
for.
we're always gonna have to wait for the next meeting to approve all this stuff.
Right.
Why not say, hey, if it's under 20,000, you guys can do it?
So
That's not how it works.
That's not-
No.
Can't do that?
Right.
So, carte blanche.
I tried.
Just go ahead.
Have a carte blanche.
That's how it worked with George.
Yeah. So,
They'll have to wait then.
yeah. So I think more people are interested in the finance. I mean, there's not much more here on the operation report, and since we're going to publish it online, they give a little background of what Science Environmental.
So operations, they don't talk about any of the infrastructure or anything like that, it's just basic.
Not on, well, they do.
Just water levels and your ability to do. use some water.
They do. They have a water system on the barge, what they want to do with the barge, how they want to move it out to. The potholing in some of the sewer lines at the sewer plant and easement proposals will be scheduled within the next 2 weeks. They're encouraging us to raise our tap fees, which is, going to be under our consideration. So there's several things, and you can have this copy if you'd like it. If not, you can find it on the website. So we'll just table that. I'd like to move on to Brian.
Is that with that agenda?
No, my thing.
Yeah. Please.
Fine. Okay. In operations, we'll talk a little bit about billing. As everybody knows, I started talking about this the first of the year, and I knew that I was anticipating, funding of, water company, the systems, and so on. So I did a little analysis because it does relate to operations in regards to our billing and what we're gaining in revenue. Hopefully everybody can see this. This is my bill. I'm a single guy who lives I have a 1.5 bath place over there. My bill in February, there it was, $165. February this year. Single guy, no additional water uses, those were our rates. I've always been under 1,000 gallons, I've never met the minimum. Anybody guess what I pay now?
So is that high or low?
No, anybody guess what I pay now?
70.
You're half of that.
No. Anybody guess what I pay now? $7.21.
Why is that?
Well, obviously you're billing.
No, there's no billing problem, Patty. No, there's no billing. This is my bill. Okay, this is my bill. This is a copy of the bill. Anybody want to see it? I've got copies here. We generate $7.
How come we are on getting that done?
Okay, hang on a second. This is for a single guy under this use.
Sorry.
30% of the members pay that amount. Now let's go through this bill. There's the new rate for water, new rate for sewer. There is the surcharge that is assessed to our legal bill, according to the PUC order. That's the $39.21. So we're not really obligated to spend that. We're not supposed to. Then we have the refund, $43.59, 30 minus $32.03 for the sewer credit, 41 cents in tax comes to $46.42, but take the surcharge out of there. $7.21, people.
Okay, I'm sorry. I deal with financials all the time. You do too.
Yeah.
And so does John.
A lot of people do.
And I'm going to tell you, your numbers don't add up. Because I got a water bill of $165. I'm a single person at a home. And I do laundry once a week maybe. My bill right now is $70 a month.
But that's usage fee. See, I don't have a usage fee. This is me for a single person.
No, it's not. It's called base rates.
Yeah, hang on a second, Patty.
If you knew about
I know how it works. Yes, I do know how it works.
Oh,
this is our base rates right here for under 1,100 gallons of water. I don't use anything greater than that. I don't have a lawn. This is me. This is Jeff Walker. This is my bill. Jeff Walker, there's my address. This is my bill. Gives me everything that I know is about it coming from them. This is in May of this year.
Well, that's interesting because in May you weren't supposed to get the refund because you weren't a ratepayer back then when the rates went into effect. So you shouldn't even
I was
paying
still
that.
paying the higher rate. Yes, we checked that out. Patty, we checked that out with
Not the
legal.
first month.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know we checked that out with legal. Okay.
Come on, man, Brian. This should have been on the agenda.
Okay, well, this is part of operations and billing.
Part of operations.
This operations send these out. Okay, I just want everybody to know this is one of our big problems. We went from 165 to 760.
Okay,
That's what we went. We went from our base rates to a usage of 1,100.
Okay, as a ratepayer representative, let me take a look at this. You're being charged $45 for water.
Yes.
Sewer, $37.
Yeah.
So it's already in there. The discount's already been activated.
No, it's not it. No, you have the refunds coming into play. Yes. Well, here, Danny,
you
just
have
for
the
you,
refunds
I have
on
a
the
copy
refund.
for you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. This is not wrong. This is billings for everybody. Everybody gets the same. Now, what you have? Yes.
No.
Well, if you're not getting,
This is not correct.
this is totally correct.
Okay,
Well, that may be what you're getting, Jeff, because you're at the airport.
It has nothing to do with the airport. It has nothing to do with the airport.
I don't know, how many people
It has nothing to do with
volunteer and
airport.
have a water bill?
You will have another line there for a usage fee for your over and above. I don't go over. I'm very conservative with my water.
I don't go over either, Jeff.
Well, then, I would like to see your bill, and you and I should get, because if you're not here, then we have a real bigger problem, and that's why I'm bringing this to the
I
attention.
guarantee you, there's not too many people that have a bill that.
Well, you gotta remember that I have the $39 incorporated in there, which is the surcharge. That's why you come to $46.42, but we're not supposed to spend that on operations. The $39 of this surcharge right here is for our legal bill.
You're just trying to make the point of what's available.
Yeah, what's
operational,
available is
because your bill, you're not paying
$7.21.
$7 in that bill, you're paying $40-some.
I'm paying $40, but $39 of it is supposed to go to the surcharge. So to go to the operations, pure operations of this, $7.21.
Let me ask you, you're actually getting refunded?
Yes.
Well, how come I'm not? How come other people?
My brother lives in Tennis Village.
Okay. If we're having billing inconsistency, we need to hear this. We don't know that.
Well, we don't.
You're the vice president.
No,
You're the one that kept Lori on.
Hey, where's Bruce's refund?
Hey, you getting yours and I'm not getting mine?
Like 2 years ago?
Oh my.
I brought it up.
How about an email that goes out to the whole community? Hey, everybody, are you having
Not a problem. I didn't know it was a problem. If I didn't bring this today, we wouldn't be having this discussion, so I brought it today.
Everybody in Tennis Village doesn't have a yard. There's no yards in
Okay,
Tennis
Bill,
Village.
all they was trying to do was say, this is my bill.
He hasn't got any money back, and he was a member
Okay, well, we want to hear this. We don't know.
So how are we supposed to tell you if we don't know other people are getting
Well, that'd be great to know. I stood up in a meeting and I talked about this.
Maybe
The new
you
bill's
liked
coming.
it so much you didn't want to tell us.
That's right. That's right.
So to summarize this, so we can move on.
Yeah.
That's what's left for
The
us.
vice
So,
president.
here's a summary.
Anybody who has a walker.jeff@gmail.com, you can mail me your billing problems and we will look into
Is
that.
that
That's what
your
we're trying to
official email
find.
address?
I'm taking it.
That is
Yes,
the
you can
compliance-
send that
compliance
to me
email address.
and we will address it. Lori's done a great job of addressing
Awesome
all
job.
these.
No, she hasn't.
Yes, she has. Yeah,
You never
Yes,
answered
yes, she has.
mine.
I'm sorry?
I sent mine twice, you never really responded that you found it was right or wrong.
Did she double
Lori,
bill us for
yes.
all her work she did for the filings and the PUC? Because she messed it up the first time, and obviously
Well, if
it's
there
not
are
correct the
issues
second
in
time.
operations and billing, we kind of need to know. But this is a scary number, $7.21
It sure is.
going to operations.
And that's a May bill, and you're telling us about it in what, September?
Yeah.
God, I told everybody about it in February, Patty, I'm not going to put up with
Let
that.
me try and just
So-
You told
summarize.
everybody in February, you got it in May. How did you tell?
No, I told everybody about the rate, the new rate structure coming in a February 20th meeting. Yes, I did, Patty. and I
You
got
were
the
so
documentation.
excited on Nextdoor, you posted, yay, yay, ratepayers, PUC, awesome job.
Yeah, exactly. Until you get to the financials, and this is our problem. Okay, what was I supposed to do? Stop the train?
That's really a steal.
Yeah, well,
So here's the operations. Anybody got, Bill, any questions about operations?
stop the
Bring them
train.
forward. Go,
You're the
financial.
train.
Financial,
Okay.
about 10 minutes?
Aren't we supposed
So-
to comment first?
I'm sorry, Dan.
Aren't we supposed to comment first? Because I would just
I'm
want to make
about
a
to
comment.
introduce a period of comments for the financial update that I'd like to give. So, first person up is Alan.
Well, I wasn't gonna say anything, but after that.
What I'm hearing here from Jeff is that it sounds like he's trying to lay the blame on the PUC for lowering our rates. We have to remember, folks, that, and for y'all that don't know me, I moved out here in '95. I sat on the original board when Windermere took over the water. It was, granted, it was just basic. But from 1996 until 2014, 15, we had no trouble in this neighborhood. None whatsoever with our water corporation.
Sherry Spradley, remember?
Yes, until Miss Martin and Joe Jimenez got involved in the water. And we had the land sale, and the lawsuit, we had all kinds of stuff going on. This 14, but from 96 to 14, we had no trouble out here. And this just blows my mind. The finances are in this way. I say this because I'm not laying the blame at these guys' feet. They've done their share, but our finances go way back to the lawsuit, and we can't blame PUC for coming in and saying these people were wrong. And one other comment, I know it's going to make some people angry with me, but 41 years of being shot at, knives pulled on, fights, bottles thrown at me in rides, I really don't care anymore. We put the majority of the blame on Daniel and Joe. These guys get their share, but this community deserves part of the blame for keeping their heads buried in the sand. Why this went on. The whole time, the lawsuit, everything, I knocked on doors. I don't want to be involved. Don't ask me to vote. Just leave me out of it. So part of the community deserves to share some of this blame, along with power boards and this current board. No wonder our finances are upside down. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Patty?
You'll appreciate this. I'm not going to throw you guys under the bus, but I'm going to kind of talk about what you talked about, Alan, the previous boards. And so this has been a train wreck. I'm going to say, sorry, since Mulligan took over, Pat Mulligan. And I know that because when I worked at Texas Rural Water Association and George came to a conference, he sat next to me and whispered in my ear, the whole system went down when he took over, when Mulligan took over, because the books were out of whack, taxes were wrong, things weren't being filed with the state, and we have never caught up. From that time, it's just been spiraling out of control, and unfortunately, you guys are carrying on with that spiraling. You're not stopping it, and it's obvious, and I implore everyone to do this, go on the website and look at the WebEx that these two guys went to with they did with the accounting firm, and I was, like I said, I'm just floored that they don't know the finances. They don't know who the checkbook belongs to. Does Renee still have the checkbook? There's $55,000 in the checkbook, and I think there's maybe $135 in the contingency fund. $100,000 in membership fees, gone. If all of us said today we don't want to be a member, we want our $350 or $400 back, they can't give it to us. That's supposed to sit in a reserve fund. Gone, wiped out. And I'm not blaming you guys, per se. I know this was done by the previous boards, but you guys are continuing it. And it's like whoever said, to be a volunteer, you have to be all the way in. And you're going to have to do stuff that requires 150% of your time. Not that, what did he call himself, a part-time board member? Or I don't know. That's not how it is. You're a full-time board member. And we just keep on perpetuating and perpetuating the financial collapse of this water system.
Thank you, Patty.
Patty, would you be comfortable with paid board members? Because I know they do allow it for treasurer.
I think right now, as far as our confidence in this.
No, not this board.
I'm talking about having.
If this board left, would you say, you want to be president? You get $5,000 a month.
No, actually, I'm not really trusting of what
Do
happens.
that. And the fact that you don't know that is frightening.
No, what?
That tells me you don't know how to sit, you don't know what it means to be a board member. You cannot get $5,000. What are you doing?
He's just making a.
No, it's.
Well, frankly, I would rather pay $14.
You can't get
I'm saying, would
$5,000.
you be willing for a board member to get paid?
Actually, I would not.
I'm not saying I don't want to get paid.
And here's why, is because I can't trust that people will do the right thing.
Nope.
I have been asking for that forever and a day. A third party makes more sense to me, and outside of the scope of knowing their business, because that's what it's going to take, you guys.
I agree with you.
It's going to take, I don't care, I'm paying $14 for somebody to come in and really go at it because they know what to do. not paying Joe down the road $5,000 or $500.
He was just making, hey Brian, can I come back to one thing? Sure. Josie, what was your bill?
My bill was $22.51 after the surcharge.
And she had a usage fee. She was over and above $22.
But that's not the point.
No, Josie. I wanted to clarify that because you went and got your bill, just for everybody to hear. I'm not trying to make a point. What everybody has to realize is the revenue. Don't worry about rates.
And that's why I said in multiple meetings we need to file bankruptcy.
Yeah,
and
it's
have a
about
judge
revenue.
redo this.
Yeah, it's about
File
revenue.
bankruptcy.
How much revenue?
Best thing you can do for this community.
Yeah.
Let a
It's
judge
about
take
revenue.
over.
That's what this exercise was about.
But you have to understand the rate appeal and the methodology.
I do understand.
You have to base it on the test year. And the legal fees were about 75% of what our base rate was.
Really, what I'd like to understand is where you guys stand as far as the PUC comes in. I don't want to know that there's going to be a delayed hearing. I want to know where you all stand right now, today, other than a fire sale for the property in the airport.
Okay.
I want to know where you stand with them coming in and what you're going to adhere to, because.
And that's fighting.
Yeah, right?
Respectfully, I'd like to go on to the next speaker because we still have stuff I prepared for you, and I prepared it with you in mind.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Bill, 3 minutes, please.
Yes,
On
sir.
finance.
About, in regards to the finance and about to the next meeting, do any of you people plan on going to the PUC meeting?
At least one of us has said yes.
One said yes.
Yep.
What about you up to, guys?
I've been there. I didn't learn anything.
Huh?
I did not learn anything in that meeting except there's a lot going on with electric. There's a lot going on with other things. Otherwise, you're waiting. You're waiting.
Well, we
all
got first on it. We got first on it.
So that we know what's going on with our water company.
Wait a second, these guys waited 3 hours in the 100-degree heat
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. That's what waiting is.
Well, we right now it's
I'm
100
sorry,
degrees
Bill
out.
has the floor. Bill has the floor. It's running down. No. We're good.
Yes,
Bill, go ahead.
it seems as though our main dilemma is finance. And this is what needs to be worked out. And we need all the help we can get. And I think we're gonna have to lean to the PUC to help because they've offered. And if you'll go down there and meet these fellas, they're quite friendly. Then my second trip down there, they recognized who I was and come up and asked me if I would like to speak. And we already had 3 people that came in my group to speak. And I said, well, I really wasn't prepared, and I felt like we were going to get a good representation. I do not want to condemn you people for trying to do something impossible. And what y'all had dumped on you to try to fix it is impossible. Because we lost $2 million to a crook.
Hey, she's supposed to pay us back for it. She signed an IOU to pay us back if
She's
she was
supposed to pay us
found.
back, but that's no one's ever going to adjust that.
Yes, I certainly don't feel like that y'all should get any brunt of the misdoing, because from what I've seen from these meetings, there's been no misdoing. There's been nothing to do with it.
Thank you, Bill.
It's the main problem.
Very true.
That's
Very true.
what we need to get fixed.
Yep.
And even if we come up with a new board, we can't give them the same problem. We got to come up with a fix-it problem to make the board work, to make the money flow.
Yep. Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
So I don't want to condemn any volunteer. I sat on a board,
You did.
sat on this board, whenever there was a second director of it. And it was a rigged deal. They never asked, they never give me a problem. They never asked me to vote on anything. They had to them vote in the meeting before I got there.
No, this will be okay. I just want to say, Bill's my uncle. I don't live here, but I've been coming to a few of these meetings over the years, okay? and when Bill was on the board, he doesn't have the hearing aids he has now, okay? And that board knew it. And they did things behind his back. And they took advantage of it. A veteran, an award winner, FAA, been a long time. And genuinely, someone who's really trying to do the best thing when he sees that something wrong has been done. Bill Billingsley wants to try to do the best thing, and he wants a fair shake for everybody in this community. You know, and I believe in my heart when he says he's not like blaming you guys or trying to throw you under the bus, because there were tremendous wrongs done from what I've seen, some of the things I've read, and I would say limited participation in coming to a few of these meetings, you know, over the year. And it's sad to me as an outside person to watch what's been happening to him and you fellow board members and ratepayers. Because at the end of the day is, and I live in the city of Austin. They asked us to conserve water like 15 years ago in the first drought, 9 years. Well, what happened? We conserved ourselves into a rate increase. That's what happened. We kept using so much water, they're stuck with the debt, and the bottom line is they just came and raised the rates. And Bill is correct in what he is saying and bringing up. Like it or not, for all the crap and misdeeds that were done by other people, it takes a certain amount of money to suck water from the lake, treat it, pump it through the pipes, and deliver it, and charge per meter per gallon, however they do it. And if the state takes over, the state's going to come in and say, you owe this much money, or they're going to assess it. So, and all costs are passed along. So the fraud and corruption, the past boards, and people that did stuff, guess what? It's passed along. And everyone here gets to eat it. And infighting is not going to fix it.
You don't know that for sure. I'm sorry, I meant to be
No, you're right. I agree with you, Patty. I'm sorry, I meant to speak. There may be some way to recover some of the fraud and misdeeds, and I hope that happens. But I do know that from what I've experienced in running a small business and just different things, it takes a certain amount of money to turn the lights on, and it's a certain amount to have somebody show up and fix something.
But you have to understand, we have been putting masking tape on the system here for 20 years. Yeah. And at some point, the rubber hits the road.
Yeah, you have to spend the money.
And
it'll be a bond assessment. It'll be assessment against the people.
They want to bond.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with you. I'll come back to the reason
we just keep on kicking that can down the road.
And the reason I came up here is that I just want to acknowledge the work that my uncle has done. Okay, and that he is not out here to shame anybody. He's just trying to hold people accountable. I'm a member of the public. I don't live here. One of the things I seem to hear from people here in the few meetings that I get at, and I understand, it's a ton of work to put together a super accurate website, to put tons of information out that everybody can do it and see it, and you have to put it in a way that people can cipher through, hundreds or thousands of pages of garbage, and it sucks. But if you're volunteering to do the board, then you need to find a way to do that, or maybe not do it, because it is work and it's hard. And there is already, again, my perspective, mistrust or lack of transparency. So the more that any board can do, you or whoever takes it, or the state of Texas that PUC takes over, giving that information in a timely and accurate way that people can view it, then you're not going to get the grief. Because I appreciate, this is a real bill. That's real. You brought your bill, and what I believe Jeff's trying to say is, hey, look, everybody got a rating great increase. Yay. There's some people that are owed refunds. They should get those refunds. And then there should be a system to make sure they get their money back. But the bottom line is, there's only so much money coming into your system, and one day when you can't pay whatever it is, those contractors, they go, till I get a credit card,
there you go.
And they'll let the water spew. They don't care.
I think.
Okay,
well, maybe but you understand that.
Thank you.
But really appreciate your perspective. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sure.
Bill, you all set?
I think you pretty well covered what I had to say. I just feel like that we need to get another perspective on this thing and kind of turn it around. And the main thing we really need to do is we own a small boat here, so we got to stop the infighting. We can't have that, and we really don't need it in the airport nor in the community.
Yep.
And we have problems over here in the airport that's almost as monumental as these water problems. And if they're not resolved, we could lose the airport. So it's big bucks over there.
Burial.
Yeah. So We got situations that can be cured. Okay.
It's good
stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Danny's next. Before you speak, Danny, I wanted to talk about the nature of the volunteer around here. And I did the same thing with the POA. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Danny stood up in a meeting and said, I'm overloaded with ACC business. I need some help. So I contacted him after and I volunteered to help. I didn't know anything about the ACC. My dad was a contractor, so I picked up some stuff there. I don't have Mark's knowledge, okay? But I'm helping as I can. I don't have all the time in the world, but as things come up, I help to work it through the process, right? Same thing here. It's the same thing here. No, I can't do it full time, but if more people provided 10% of their time or 20% of their time, we'd have whole people, in effect, working through these problems, and it would help a lot. Now,
It boils down to leadership, the right person leading.
I
People
think-
follow when you have a good leader. If you don't have a good leader, then you have chaos. is what
I
you got here.
think Mark-
So not one of you are good leaders.
Look at POA, look at how well they're operating.
Okay, so
Nothing personal, but it's just that it's a reality.
1, 2, 3, 4 members.
the other part of it is the Texas Open Meeting Act expects a utility of this size to have certain resources. It expects you have a board of directors. It expects you have officers. It expects you have functioning committees. The TOMA would work here if there wasn't what Bill was talking about. We have lightning rods. People won't volunteer to help. I don't know why I'm here, frankly. And I'm talking to Dina the other night. Why did I ever do this? I mean, what is the point here? But the point is that I'm trying to help bridge to whatever happens next, all right? I don't want to see a Jeff up here all by himself, or a Jeff and a Renee that can't make a simple decision so that the board, that the water company can continue another month. All I did was volunteer to help that much go. And yes, I'm learning as I go, but I'm giving of my time, my most precious resource, to help this
Everybody in
community.
this room is.
It's a
You have to
wonderful.
only one.
I'm definitely.
All we're trying to say, Brian, is that, I mean, we're not getting any further down the road, and you know and I know that that's not happening.
As I mentioned, bridge to what happens next.
Well, if I could put my 2 cents in, I understand what you're saying, and volunteering for a board, and it shouldn't consume your life, but you've got to understand the current state of affairs of this corporation and this board. It takes more time than another WSC or a special utility district because of the years of neglect, the financial mismanagement, and thank you for sitting on the board. However, you stepped in to, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And that's why it's possible with a temporary manager. My belief is all of this gets cleaned up because somebody is running it that knows how to run it and knows all these nuances. That's it.
I've spent my entire career stepping into one mess after another. The reason I was a contractor and consultant for 25 years is because every place I went into work was in turmoil. The only reason I was there is because it was in turmoil.
Did you know though what you were doing? That was your area of specialty. This is very difficult to understand. I've been doing it for like 15 years and I'm still learning new things. It's it's just so hard. It really is.
I most definitely understand. And I most definitely understand that I do not know it. And there are certain disciplines here that are not represented, that are needed. Why not? Come and help. Now, I'd like to move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
I'd like to move on.
What do you have in the financial report?
Yeah, I mean, Danny is next, but Bruce, would you turn the lights on?
Yeah, I was going to go do that.
Thank you. Danny?
I don't have much to say other, than the legal fees. And, I'd love to sit, I appreciate you being on the ACC with me. Everything's working out fine, but I don't appreciate what's happening here. I requested all those reports for the last meeting, before the meeting, and I still don't have them. In fact, I filed something with the AG because every one of those reports was sitting in front of you, and somebody should have just sent them to me, or, hey, Danny, can you come pick them up? I walked to your house and got them. That last email that you sent to me the other day, oh, well, we'll get around to it. It doesn't work.
That's not quite what I said.
Not quite.
But
It's pretty damn close.
Let me give you more bullets. What I did was I made a sin of commission instead of omission, and I had a manager once that told me it's better to do that than the other. What I did was I stepped out in front of the board and I tried to get your request satisfied as quickly as possible, and I misspoke because the data you were looking for is not what I thought it was, and it was available, and I let the rest of the board know it, and I'm hoping they will get that to you. That's what happened in that case. I'm very sorry for that, but it's the PIA requests are net new processes for me, okay? So I have made a couple of mistakes in the few that I've done, and frankly, I'm really hesitant about doing any more until I learn a lot more about it. It's very sensitive stuff going on there. Okay, Danny.
The basics, like what I asked for, and I asked for them before the meeting so we would know what y'all were sitting up there talking about, and some they could have easily been sent. They were the reports. And you may be trying. I'm wanting to believe you, really. But what Jeff has done in the past with the records and stuff, and saying he deletes all his text messages, and that's just the way it's going to be. And if you don't, in fact, I gave that email to the AG where he said if you don't like it, go to the AG. So I did. I would rather just have the reports so that we can look at them. I believe that Jeff hides these reports so that we can't see what's in them. And he has earned that distrust. You and I were still on probation. Okay? I want to believe you.
Danny, listen to me very seriously. I consider you my friend right now and into the future. You can't change that. I am always going to consider you to be my friend. All right, Danny, is there anything?
That's it.
Thank you. I'm sorry to take the time. All right, Mark?
I have nothing to say.
Thank you. Bruce?
Yeah.
This is finance.
I find it interesting that in May I was told I would get my refund by the end of July. And in August I complained about it, and now here we are in what? Maybe it's next July, I'm not sure. Jeff's getting his though. He's the one that promised it by the end of July. How many times I gotta ask for it?
Never getting it.
Temporary manager.
And by the way, just so everyone knows, if a temporary manager, if on chance that they're appointed, we still are entitled to our refunds.
Sure.
For water and sewer. That doesn't go away.
Thank you, Patty. Is Mickey still here? I don't see her.
I'm right here.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't sign up, I only signed up for the non-agenda.
No, Mickey's there. She doesn't, she only signed up for the general council.
Oh, okay, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Josie, you're the last one here. Did you sign up
Finance.
for that?
I didn't. On finance, all I would like to say is, understand that you guys are carrying the load, but the reality is, that should have been, Jeff, you've been on the board for 2 years, I'm sorry, but that's unacceptable. And the fact that we can't get it together and we don't have a plan, the best plan of action that you guys can do right now at this point is turn it over to the PUC, because you haven't been compliant. And Patty can sit here and tell you until you're blue in the face, and you guys still won't do it. That's what boggles my mind.
Why don't you be heroes and give it to
Well,
us?
it's my understanding that it
Give
may
it to
be
the
up to
PUC.
us.
Y'all can call
It
them.
is up to you to make the, meet
It
the
can get taken
deadlines.
away from us.
No.
You are to
Yeah.
meet deadlines, and you have not met one deadline with the PUC. I know, I talked to Merritt too.
Too busy selling real estate.
Yeah.
So
We're doing.
please don't make excuses.
It's not an excuse.
Just find the way to get a straight path going down the road.
Right.
Temporary manager.
Big handouts.
All set, Josie? Yeah. That's for you to share. I have 15 of these. I'm not sure how well we're going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
But, I'm sorry, Josie.
No, you can give me, if you have one left over.
There we go. We can share.
I don't know that you're right.
I took a shower last week. And the water finally came back on.
Oh, good, I'll take one now. Or that's Michelle.
I have two more. Here. No, it's one.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
All right, ready?
Yeah. God, this is a, you made
So
this report?
what I'd like you to do is,
Brian's done a great job.
there's a presentation and there are two financial reports. See what I'm doing here?
Give the meeting details.
Right, yeah. So the agenda you can see here, just a quick introduction. We're going to talk about accrual versus cash basis accounting. It's important to know what we're dealing with here. Current position of our company and some observations based upon what I'm seeing in these reports we're about to go through. And then next steps, and then I'll take a little bit of Q&A, not a whole lot, and we'll end for the evening.
Just one quick question. Are we on accrual or cash?
Accrual, but
We're basically on cash.
that's why we're here.
Yeah, it's supposed to be on the bill.
Okay, which page are you on, Brian? Oh, you're still on the
introduction.
On the introduction.
Okay.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's okay.
Let's start with the introduction.
Okay.
So just a few quick thoughts about where we're at here. As you know, there was a point not too long ago where we had a full board. They left in the early part of this year, most of them, and then some through attrition, some through volition, etc. And then we had a period of one board member, and then two, and then we had three others that bowed out fairly quickly, and then we had me, and then we had Scott, and the rest is history. All right? And so we are essentially starting over in many respects. And one of the areas where we're starting over is our finances. Sitting where you are now for the past 5 years, 4 years, actually up until I got up over here, I would receive these same sorts of reports from prior boards, and I'm looking at stuff or not having things to look at, struggling to understand what is going on. We understood that there were some massive legal issues, legal bills, and they were never represented. There were a lot of things, a lot of questions I had, and frankly, it wasn't long before I just gave up trying to ask them. One of the big things that we've been dealing with as a new board and starting over is the records and the records management. It is, in some respects, almost impossible to find information to provide to something like an IRS request or an audit or something else. So what you have in front of you represents an awful lot of work on the part of a lot of other people. All I did was coordinate some efforts in order to get our books into a reasonable order so that we can start to use them as a community and as a board to make business decisions. Prior to what you have in front of you here, I don't have any faith in any of those documents because they were incomplete.
So, but I have a question. Who has those documents?
Documents.
That you say that we don't have past documents? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what don't we have? And who has them and all that kind of stuff? You said that.
Well, I'm not specifically talking about the finances right at the moment, but are there other areas you had to get?
Yeah, the 2023 audit can't be done.
Why?
They do not have enough to fill in specified requirements. The documents are not there.
Because when you steal money,
For the
they
IRS,
don't give you
the same
information.
thing, couldn't find
Basic.
anything,
That's
so.
what I'm true.
I'm sorry, sir, what's your name?
I'm Bill. Hi.
Bill, Brian.
Right. There's a bank account. There's transactions. There's microfiche. It's all there. There's a QuickBooks file somewhere. There's a native file. And it's held in an account.
You need a Texas the attorney general to step in.
Okay, well, thank you for that. To some extent, you're correct, all right? But the QuickBooks file was a big controversy, and it finally showed up, it was finally made available, and it is not complete.
By who?
And has it been, and has it, and this is a question for everybody, because some people work with QuickBooks, but has it been reviewed by a forensic accountant?
So if you don't mind, I will get to the part where we talk about an audit, right?
Because for people who don't know, you can manipulate QuickBooks books, you can do all kinds of stuff with it, but if it's the original file, in the background, all those journal entries,
Well, as a side note,
yeah.
in the rate appeal, we did an RFI, request for information, over and over and over to get the QuickBooks native file.
This is important for you.
And they never would give it to us. They gave us a PDF. Then they gave us the Excel, and we said, that is not a native file. We never got it, and we asked, and there you have it.
That's one example, Patty, and it's a really good one in this case.
That'll show everything.
But, I mean, a lot of the research and review and searching for data having to do with our finances happened before I was on the board around the beginning of the year, because Renee and others were trying to pull that together and get it to our new accounting firm. Accountants don't make things up. They take data from a bookkeeper and they put it in the books and they make sense of it, they make sure it's categorized properly so that it can be used for decision making, essentially, and taxation and stuff. Yes.
You used the word, you said the records of the books were incomplete. You used the word incomplete. What is incomplete?
What is incomplete?
Yeah, what does that mean? You used the word.
Did I not use in the past? I think
you said
all I can say, Marvin, is what I have here is the information we have on hand. So to the extent that it represents everything we have on hand, we have the bank accounts, we have some new items that I'll talk about in a second that were added recently that help to complete the picture.
I can give an example.
Please.
George used to have a lot of subcontractors, right? And he would give one invoice to the board. The board would pay it. No backup receipts, no nothing. So when you go back to look at stuff, it's not there. It's just not there.
No detail.
Yeah, no detail.
Okay.
Now, in the case of KWR, they give us their bill, and every receipt for every chemical purchase, it's 40, 50 pages. Yeah.
Your accounting records are complete. That's not an incompletion. You had an invoice, you paid the invoice. That's accounting, okay?
That's what we're doing now, trying to do.
Yeah, well, no. I think it was done in the past as well.
No,
You had an invoice, you paid the invoice, the payment was recorded.
Well, what he's telling you is.
There is no record of that.
The ones that have
There's
detailed
no
records.
there's no record of that.
Let me
There's
just-
no tax disbursement.
Hold on.
This is devolving. We really have to take this in steps.
Okay. All right. You used the word incomplete.
All right, so I'm going to stop with where I want to talk
No
about as
backup,
far as
no,
where we're at
could you
here.
tell what it
But
was?
I would like to point out
Nothing is $5.
the financial reports that you have. Whenever you receive them, please look for the title.
I have no idea.
If you look at, let's take the balance sheet. First paper here. At the top, it tells you what it is, the balance sheet. I have two reports to show you, balance sheet and profit and loss. It has the date, and in the case of a balance sheet, that is a snapshot of your fund balances at a point in time. In this case, it's the end of October. profit and loss, if you turn to that.
End of August, not October.
I'm sorry, August, yes, just like I said. Profit and loss, it shows a period of January through August. So profit and loss can either be for a particular month, but it's also useful to run it for a number of months so that you can see some trends and some other things in comparison, and do some comparison. Also, the report date, if you look on the last page of these reports, very small print, you can see the date that these things were printed essentially. So if it's printed before the date shown on the report, you can pretty much say that the future hasn't happened yet. So maybe not trust what you're looking at. And then where regards these reports, where you see numbers in parentheses, in case you don't know, those are how we represent negative numbers on this report.
So when you say parentheses, I just want to make sure, are we talking the squiggly thing that you've got in front of that?
No.
Okay.
Parentheses.
Not on the.
I know what parentheses
Not
are,
on the
but.
presentation, on the report.
Oh, yeah.
How come on the operator's costs, it fluctuates? Like, there's no payment 1 month, and the next month it's 19,000, no payment, then 33,000. Like, how come a month goes without being paid?
I can talk about that in concept when we get to it, Patty.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not going to be able to drill down into details. And the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, this is a progressive thing, all right? We're not going to have everything revealed to us immediately. We're going to, over time, improve these records and use the records for our operational purposes and our business decision making. And as we improve it, we'll be able to rely on it and make better decisions. All right, the reports presented today, I already talked about the balance sheet, P&L, and the periods, so I'm moving on to the next page. So accrual versus a cash basis, and this part is where I'm going to talk about my copy of answering your question.
Y'all probably too, just side note, remove some of this stuff. That note payable to the WOPOA, that has been paid off years ago. Like, so some of that stuff, you guys just need to remove this.
That must be just left from old records that were brought in. You're right, not perfect.
Well, you would know that. I mean, you guys weren't here when they had that loan.
No.
All right, in a cash basis, you record your income and expenses when that cash changes hands. Our bookkeepers are operating a cash basis. Wait, please.
Go on, listen.
Right, make your notes.
Yeah, no, yeah.
In the accrual system, which is our current financial system, we record income when it's earned or entitlement is received. So when an invoice comes in, you record it immediately. You may not pay it then, but you record it. It's in your books. That's an example. So you record an expense when the liability is incurred. Your corporation books right now include liabilities, by the way. The prior board was working on a cash basis.
Excuse me. Looking at your balance sheet, current assets, I don't see accounts receivable. Everybody paid their bill on time?
I believe it's there. And if we wait, Marvin, until we get
I see other current assets. I see, okay. Total current assets?
So we are not currently on a fully accrual basis. So let me explain it. Again, the bookkeepers, the bookkeeping function is where these bills and stuff come in, or when checks are written or they're paid. And they take that and they record this financial data and make it ready for the accounting process, essentially. Our bookkeepers are Lori and to some extent Renee, okay? They're still helping out with this. The accounting team, of course, is
MMB.
I can never remember that, MMB. And so their function is to take that data, interpret it, get it in, make sure it's in the right category, and make it something that we can use, again, for our purposes here, or for reporting taxes or whatever. So I just wanted to make that plain because what is happening is we have right now kind of a hybrid. We are not fully doing what you, sir, mentioned, where when our bookkeepers receive a bill, they are supposed to, in a full accrual system, enter that bill into our system, our accounting package. They're not doing that now, so we're not aging bills. We have no way to know that. So
Why do we change it? We're working on it, Mark. Yeah, that's our next phase.
Yeah, please let me just get through this, and then we have some summations, and then we'll take some. Right. So our bookkeepers are, we have a volunteer, finance committee, essentially what's left of it, and our consulting record keeper, Lori. And so what they do is they pay bills online. They write a couple checks, but not many. Most of it's all online, and just like with your home QuickBooks, Quicken system, you pay bills with a credit card. You do your, you synchronize your bank with your Quicken system, and then you go through them and say, yeah, I recognize that, match, and you deal with any discrepancy, and you're done. That's what they're doing. That's the cash basis of working. But that's not what we need. We need to move toward a full accrual system. And to Mark's point, that is something that we need to do, and I'll mention what's happening as far as that goes. So right now, when looking at the balance sheet, and we're going to actually look at these reports now, I will say, for starters, that our assets exceed our liabilities. And Marvin, what does that mean? Our assets exceed our liabilities. So what does that mean?
You have a positive share value.
You have land assets.
Well, yeah, I mean, if your assets exceed your liabilities, bill-based accounting or cash-based, it means you have money. Your corporation is solvent. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. So
if the data is correct.
That's correct. There you go. There you go.
Do you see this, what it says right here? Someone mentioned this earlier. See in parentheses it says, not audited. We have yet to submit to a full audit. It's in process. I'm going to follow up with that. One of my things to do. All right, we have $53,000 in cash that is generally available. Look at the balance sheet. The income, most liquid, is shown first on the balance sheet, and as you go further on, less and less. You can see three numbers here for cash, only one of which, as I understand it, is available, and that's the 53K number. All right, the others are, for whatever reason, bespoke for something else. It's not to say that you can't in an emergency use that. It's just that, you know, if CoBank wants you to set aside so much of that loan, then you need to set it aside. And if you need to do something with it, you better go to them and talk to them about it first. Yes, sir.
Is the cash in an account that you're at least getting 5% interest rate on, or set that up so you're getting like not 0.0 on?
We don't need to get into that.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, and frankly, these days, I'm not sure if it
5%
matters.
is
It's
nothing.
so small. But it's getting done.
Yeah.
1%, half.
Yeah, there's the banker right there. All right, the other 220, like I said, is generally not available.
And shouldn't be a current asset. Should be classified as an asset not current, because it's not available for current use except in emergencies. Okay?
Someone make a note of that for me, please.
Which line item?
All right, so Marvin is saying that our cash in the bank accounts
Yeah, I'm there.
is not a current asset. Is that what you're saying?
It's not
What would you call it?
use.
The one that says.
We will
It's
check.
not
Wait a
our
minute, wait a minute,
accountants.
Marvin, the one that says cash, or the one that says
This
capital
one.
reserve?
No, the one that says reserve, the one that says contingency fund, those are not available.
This one you can spend.
Yeah.
Okay, so part of my journey here is to try and sort this stuff out. Okay? Marvin may perfectly be correct. I'm not an expert in that. Okay. All right, so we have a high payables balance. It's $500,000. The payables balance includes what we owe the Gosling legal group, whatever the name is.
But Brian, what line item are you on?
I'm on this in the presentation.
Oh, you're still on that.
And let's see.
On the balance, you're still on the balance sheet?
Yep. Yeah, you go to page 2 in the middle, 2,000 is the GL account number, accounts payable. That number is 563,331 and change. It includes 534 of legal expenses, Gosling. So there's $29,000 in other legal expenses. We'll talk about more. We also have high liabilities. So if you look, let's see, that's actually, obviously, that our liabilities include accounts payable. A large percentage of those payables are past 90 days due. And I'm talking like a year. Okay?
Who has the majority? Legal? So legal?
Sorry?
What's the most majority? Who's owed out of that money? Who's owed that money?
Oh, legal, absolutely.
Oh, that's all legal?
All legal.
But Brian, basically the PUC, what are we doing with 534,000 to Gosling when the PUC said there was only a certain amount that we ever had to pay them back?
No,
that's in context of that.
PUC doesn't regulate it.
And there's a lot there.
PUC, let me just take that. That 478 number within the order, which is what you're getting surcharged for, okay? That is only for a snapshot period of time. We have a liability now. One of the things that we tried to do in the previous board was to get that 537 to have Boyd Gosling commit to the 478. Well, we didn't do that. If you remember, we tried to put that forth to try to have them sign a release from the 478 to what we owed them in the 537. But we own the 537, it's on their invoices, and we didn't push that through.
Josie, that docket that you did, that last docket that was done from them, they came back and said that 200,000, they were gonna let it be done.
No, that's not them, that's us. We own that docket, and it's gone. That 200,000 is gone. They tried to apply for that in the end of December.
That wasn't part of it.
Yeah, that wasn't part of it. That was above and beyond. That got turned down. That's over.
Okay, let's continue. It's getting late. Okay, so let's look at the profit and loss now. Again, this is showing 8 months of P&L, 8 months of activity, January through August. Every month that goes by from now, since we started getting this stuff straight in January, gives us the ability to use that historical information to make better decisions, and I'll explain why in a moment. So the average spend, if we go to the last page, and you look at essentially the summation here, the net income, and the last column is the total of everything to the left, if you will. That number is 79,019. It's grayed, it's in parentheses, which means it's negative, right? So if we take that number and divide it by the 8 months, you get an average of $9,600 per month that we are spending over what we are taking in. So our burn rate, based upon that 8 months time, remember, 9 months more accurate, 10 months more accurate, etc. That's what we can start to use in our business decisions. Now, are we at that maturity level yet? Well, we're working on it, right? But you can't even start to be at that maturity level until you have your finances in order, right? You're basing it on documents that may not be accurate. So anyway, so that's average spend per month. So we really, if you look at that in comparison to the amount of money that we have that's available to us, right? The 53K from the balance sheet, you could stipulate, you could assume, not a good term, sorry?
The same thing.
You could say
You don't want to do that.
that you have about 5 months of cash available to run the business.
Unless you cut expenses even more.
Can I make a comment here? Patty was very diligent in saying that some of these accounts are not actually, have you gone through each one of these accounts like that POA?
It says zero in the POA.
It says
It
zero.
says zero. It's just a journal entry. Yeah, it's just a journal entry.
Okay, So just to finish the thought, we have, another way to say it is 5 months to make the necessary corrections to bring the corporation back into the red. At that level, it doesn't address the $500,000 legal expenses from distant past. All right, that's one. But they're not coming after us yet.
And also, Brian, if I can, we should, since you've done a great job on this, we should take that 3921, the surcharge, I think that's what it is.
Yep.
3921, that should actually be held in reserve. Because
It should.
if you look at the order states that we owe Lloyd Gosling $478, and the surcharge is the $39.21 we're collecting from everybody, which is why.
If you're not doing that legally, you guys be held responsible.
Exactly, which is why we're only generating in my bill $7.21 in operating fees.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we should think about that. We should talk to the accountants about that. You know, how do we accrue that? Because we're using that surcharge to run the operation.
All right, so we're already using this data
Yeah.
to make better decisions.
Yeah.
All right, also on the P&L is $20,000 in legal expenses. That's our current legal team that is billing us, okay?
And why do we have that?
For another day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Am I supposed to be spending 3?
Call me.
$15,000 in audit expenses, okay? So we do have an audit that's been in process, and when I was looking at the P&L, let's see if I can
Who's
find
doing the audit?
That's the financial audit,
Who's doing it?
MMB. They have an audit group.
Under the 63,100 or 63,000 category, if you will.
What page?
Account, page 2 of the P&L. Bottom third. You'll see the legal fees there. Those are the legal fees. Actually, I want to go up further. 62,400 bookkeeping, center of the page. Go to let's see, January, February, March, April, May, June and July. If you look at those and you start reading across, all of a sudden there's a blip. It's like, okay, what happened there? Where'd that money go? And so in checking with our accounting team, that is when the audit started out.
And they found that you didn't have money?
And they stopped.
And they stopped.
Right. So they essentially stopped. I've had a couple of conversations with them.
Well, they stopped because you found out you didn't have money. They said, we're not going to do any more till you get paid.
It kind of was, Bill. It kind of was. And it kind of wasn't, but they were waiting for some approvals to move forward. We didn't know if we wanted to spend the money. We needed to spend the money, and and it's a double-edged sword because you spend money. We need the audit for the compliance, filing with the PUC, but then PUC telling us to, don't spend any money, so we're going to catch 22. We're cutting this whole thing.
Yeah, well, why are they going to do an audit and risk not getting paid if you're going to file bankruptcy?
Exactly.
If that's what the suspicion is. Yeah.
But the PUC is not supposed to allow us to go bankrupt.
Well, that's why they're implementing this process.
Right? Because the only reason we would go bankrupt is that they said you can't change your rates for a year. Right? Otherwise, we can apply for new rates. The board could do it. So we can't change the rates. If we go bankrupt, this could look very bad for the PUC.
I don't know about that.
Well, it will be.
Well,
It will be.
it will be.
I do know that what's going to happen is, again, I understand that you guys brought together a balance sheet finally, and I appreciate it. But the reality is, we still are no better off because the PUC, when they come in, they will do an audit because that's the first thing that they're going to do.
They're going to find the same information that we are looking for,
Well, then
and
why
they won't find it.
what's the problem?
Okay, so one more comment and I'll continue.
So what I'm hearing is a contractor potentially refused to do work because they were worried about getting paid and they stopped.
No.
But you got it worked out. I mean, I'm using that as an example.
No, that
You
was
said-
an off-the-cuff comment.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Meaningless joking.
We're trying to figure out where to spend the money.
Right.
We got more expenses than we have cash.
Well, what's
Do here, do here, do there.
So I'd like to continue.
Okay, I'll hold that for a
Thank you,
second.
sir. All right, so next steps, last page here. actually came in. So these are topical areas that I'm going after next. Payables, review, and planning. I mentioned that we have a lot of money that's owed other people. Good, bad, may not be correct. We may not need to pay it, I'm not sure. But it's 90 days in arrears plus. And like I said, some of them go back a long, long way. Some of them make no sense, but we need to look at that. Review and refine financial processes, procedures, beginning with bookkeeping. We've already talked about, we have people that are doing bookkeeping, but they're not doing it in an accrual basis. So it doesn't provide for the information that we need to use it for business purposes. And so part of that is going and talking to them, looking at their current processes and procedures, finding out if anything's documented, and then looking at things like, okay, when this bill comes in, how do you determine whether it gets paid, who pays it, who has authority to pay it, what are the thresholds? All of those things go into your procedures and they guide how those people do work. It's for their protection, not just us. I want to continue to align with full accrual basis. We've already talked about that. Identify and engage additional revenue sources. And you might laugh at that, but pretty sure there are some other ways, we mentioned one earlier, to increase the revenue. And we're down 10K a month. It's not good, but it's not horrific. We have time. We are starting to get records that we can use, and we can have time to make some decisions and maybe get closer to being in the red again. All right, identify cost savings, similar to that, just the inverse. I think there's an awful lot in this cost savings thing because we talked about the teams that we have, companies we've hired to do work for us. If there's no oversight to that work, there's the option for them to be a little generous in their accounting. I'm not saying that anything's like that. It's just that if you're not watching, you leave yourself open to that. Complete the audit. I'm already talking to people about what's happening there. I don't have a full understanding of where they're at, but I'll continue doing that. That's short term. Just a couple things I've been thinking about. And then long term, our budget, Josie, to your point, I think a couple of meetings ago, you know, when you're paying a legal bill, why is it beyond the $3,000 in your budget? Well, the budget's shot. I mean, we are trying to survive financially, okay? So that budget, once we start putting these other things in motion, that budget is on the logical path to getting us organized again.
I make a comment real fast. I appreciate you doing this, Brian, and I understand that you're making every effort to make this right. But the fact of the matter is, nobody wants to pay legal fees. And PUC has already stipulated that you guys cannot go over the $3,000 budget. But here's what I just have a question on. Why aren't you guys utilizing the resources that you have with PUC for your CPA or anybody else other than legal fees? You can spend $100,000 and not get anywhere. We've learned that for the last 4 years. Come on, guys.
Do we have resources at PUC we can use?
Yes. Or TWR or that TRWA.
So we can ask them, can you review these legal things or whatever?
What are you having reviewed legally? Well, I guess that's really where I'm at.
Well, we've got IRS, okay, IRS coming in, it's an audit. We've got PIA requests. Those are
PIA
legal.
requests are not.
They are legal documents.
Come on, you guys.
They are.
That's where we have been for the last 4 years.
Oh, so if it doesn't happen, where do you go? To the Attorney General?
Yeah.
Oh, then why is it not a legal document?
So the fact of the matter is, you guys are not complying with the perspectives that are in place.
Yes, we are. We're trying to,
yes,
I hope that you know what you're saying, Jeff.
I totally do. I'm looking right at the camera right now.
I hope you do.
Yeah, I mean, the budget was not established by the PUC.
Okay.
The budget was established by the board in February and March's meeting. It was approved and went through line item by line item.
Based on
So-
based on the fire board budget.
You know, we did not expect to get hit. We didn't.
Okay, let's
You're
just,
making a
do
statement.
our bullets and we can all go on. Reconsider the rate structure. Now, Jeff has mentioned this a couple times. I think what he's trying to show, and Bill, is that income-wise, we are hamstrung. And he didn't mention the drought.
No.
Because the drought keeps people from using water. That's our commodity. That's what we're selling. So we need to free members up to water their lawns.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? Spend more money because we've got a lot of water in the lake. Now, for now. May change in the future, but everybody else is using it, right? So, okay.
Well, Brian, one of the things we pointed out, you need to go in and look at who you're giving these refunds to, and if you're giving refunds to people that don't, that shouldn't be given.
We're not.
I beg to differ
We're not. I
with
talked
you.
to
My
the PUC
ex-husband
about
is
this. I
getting-
talked to the PUC about
Think
this.
how much money you'd have.
Julie, I'm sorry, we're following the
Come on,
PUC.
let's shut this down.
No, you're not.
I mean,
As a matter of
yes, I am.
fact, I know
If that's the
firsthand,
case,
because
just
my
prove it.
ex-husband owns
That's all. Just publicly say it, and then this ends.
and you guys are crediting the tenants over there. So don't tell me that you're paying, not paying or giving credit.
I was paying the water bill at
I'm telling you
136
right
million,
now.
and I haven't gotten a penny
Okay, so just to summarize that,
for 3 years.
that's a serious issue, right?
It is an issue.
On many
It's an
levels.
issue
So,
That's
Jeff,
the best way to raise income, to make sure you're billing people properly.
I'll take it.
Well, that's what you do day one.
no arguments? No arguments.
We'll take it.
We got to go to the membership.
Actual formal presentation.
There's a membership refund account.
Puts it all together.
18 grand in it.
PUC wanted it.
All right, so I just wanted to mention that the rate structure was given to us, set by the PUC, based on a point of time that was a long time ago, right? Up to 2020.
2020.
March 2020.
Yep.
Going
That's
back
when it started.
45 months, right? That came from. So, and then they also used the fire board's budget, as I recall,
Yep.
which is where they tried to fit the legal expenses in there somewhere. I don't think they got away with it fully. But anyway, they put us on a footing that is very difficult. Jeff was trying to point out one example. Now, he's a single guy. I don't know how many single people around.
Yeah, so what are you proposing to survive, so we survive another 6 months or a year?
Exactly, Mark.
Well, what are you proposing?
I'm not proposing. What I'm saying is this is a long-term thing to look at next, right?
We all know that. How are you gonna survive to pay bills the next 5 months? We know you have enough money for 5 months, what are you gonna do in 6 months?
We're going to change the rates.
Mark, you weren't at.
Either we will or somebody else will.
Yeah, you weren't at the meeting when they were.
Yeah, they're gonna raise rates on you. If they don't do it, the PUC will do it. Because that's what Austin did. They'll come in and they'll just
There's no other
say,
way to get income.
I mean, you may not like it, but I've seen this. They'll say, hey, board, you're gone. Hey, this is your new rate. This is the revenue we had to have. If you want water, this is what it is, because that's what they did to us in Austin.
And you can forget the idea of selling any assets.
What?
You can forget the idea of selling any assets.
Nope, because they can do that as well.
They can, but you can't.
We're trying to, but they can come in and
You
fire.
can't.
I know that you are.
Yeah.
Okay, the final bullet has to do with record keeping. And I've already mentioned this a couple times. This is something we run into with every single thing we try to do. Try to find some information, and the person that has it is no longer there. Or the person that's no longer there didn't record anything, or the person that was no longer there put it
When
somewhere
you're
and you
embezzling
can't find
money,
it.
you do not leave a clean track so that you can back and get find the history.
Yeah, but what are they
That's
gonna do?
basic 101 when you're.
What are they gonna do?
But what are they gonna do?
So,
They're gonna-
no, I know, but
Yeah,
that's the problem you're trying to do. That's the problem.
They had a fiduciary
There are
duty
ways
to
to
do
do
that.
that.
I agree with- I mean, if you know
All right,
there's, if you know
that's
there's.
the end of my presentation.
Why haven't,
Yeah.
It
good
was
job.
really good. and I
Why don't
appreciate
you,
it.
why does the board go to the Attorney General's office and ask them to investigate?
They're busy at the border.
Okay, that's the first question. Bill, you've been storing stuff out for you.
A year ago, and Jeff said.
Well, I'm just trying to make like an observation, and it seems like, again, I'm a member of the public. I
Yep.
live here, my uncle lives here. It seems like there was a lot of corruption and thievery from people in the past, and some horrific abuse by some lawyers and some run-up bills. Where's theirs?
It wasn't so much corruption as it was just out and outright, we're gonna pay the lawyers.
Yeah.
They denied it.
So what I was just saying is that, yeah, the lawyers made their money, they do what lawyers do, and I've been down this rabbit hole before, and it's, to me, it's almost, maybe some of those firms should be brought up with the board, the Texas board, because did they really work that many hours, and did they really bill that, and are those legal accurate bills? Because, and they know they can tag the community and the assets, and they can come out and sue you, and they're not doing it, they're kind of like, oh, we're nice, you pay us when you can, but they can sue you, and they would, and the only way out of it, those legal bills, is if PUC takes over and do a bankruptcy. Is that, would that end those legal bills?
No, they will not do bankruptcy.
So PUC is just, that's what you're saying, PUC takes over, PUC will come in, appoint a director, and then they would say, they're just going to raise rates. They would limit assets and raise rates.
Whatever it takes.
Time out, please. I talked to Mary about this.
Okay.
She was the one who filed it.
Okay.
There's a company called Answer, A-N-S-E-R. It's on the file. Go look at it. Go look at who owns them. Extension. The big accounting firm.
Right, yeah.
They own them. What do they specialize in? Utility management.
Yeah, the one that got sued and had, Accenture, Arthur Anderson, those guys.
Arthur Anderson stuff down there.
Yeah, that's Arthur Anderson.
And we'll give you some feedback. Here's what our attorney told us at the executive session. First thing out of his mouth, the PUC wants these small utilities to be gone.
They don't like them.
They don't like them. They don't like the regulator. They want us to be gone. I mean, John Carlson said that. He goes, he hears it all the time.
Yeah,
but we take it as, but hang on,
I appreciate that. No, that's the consensus with, they want small businesses to be gone.
Yes.
They want everything to, they don't want individual freedom and choice. They just want to put it in a big blob.
So look at the people that they've recommended on the filing. It's a petition. We're going to go to the hearing and we're going to see what they want to do. The board does not go away. The board stays here, a management person gets applied and says, okay, PUC, we looked at the balance sheets. They're 10 grand in the hole. Guess what we need to do?
Raise rates.
We need authorizations to put a surcharge or to raise their rates immediately. They will have that capability.
Yep.
Based upon the information
And we have all
that
this
we have
equipment that
presented.
needs to be
Yeah,
done.
they'll look at the operation reports. They'll go talk to AWR or
And
Sidebar.
they'll compare it to like utilities of similar size
Yep.
and what their standard bill is. And is it working, is it in the bell curve? And they're gonna go, yeah, looks good, check.
So all we're doing is agreeing with each other. Thank you very much, Billy. Are there any other questions about having to do with this presentation?
Send our comments, send any comments, and any great issues over.
Thanks for your hard work on it. Thank you for your hard work.
I make Brian, I think we're on a good path. This is the first time we've seen this. I don't know if anybody else can comment on that, but I know that you've done a tremendous amount of work on this thing. Far more than whatever he had, but especially with, he knows that our data is just not there. It's wrong. It's been accounted wrong for a long time. And getting this cleaned up here at this point is pretty good.
And getting a new person is going to have the same problem.
Yeah, getting a new person.
So thank you.
I have copies of the documents of the reports that we talked to about today, if anybody would like them. So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second. All those in favor?
Again, reports here if anybody wants them. Don't submit a PIA request because they're right here.
Okay, who wants to go on vacation with me?
Where are you going?
It won't get you very far.
Oh, Judy.
I was having a moment. Brian always calls her Judy. And now?
Well, she is a jewel.
Hey, how's that grandbaby?
When was the last time you were in Houston?
We won't go. She was your last one.
Oh, was it?
The Grammy era. I'm in my Grammy era. That's about time.
That's your quick problem, man. You should have
You all would be better served by trying to make information available as much as possible as soon as you give it. And exactly how the way that it is easy for someone who may not be because that's how you're going to perception of reality, which you may do, you have no money, you may say, look, do it again. You said, hey, we don't have any money, but you cannot disseminate information in an accurate way or expedite way for all the documents.
In October, the first week in October? Are you on somewhere?
Here's the 15 times I asked. Yep. But I do understand because
It's like, okay, well then I'm going to talk to you.
Retail business, I know this right. This sucks. This sucks.
I got something like that. So, to get volunteers, to get the stuff, everybody's getting, I'm glad corporate ways.
Everything is okay.
That's why I on my airplane.
It's been less than a year. Someone needs to remain within the statute of limitations. You got a year. You got a year to ask.
The problem, Bill, is
everything in
to the pile.
Yes, yes.
Doors closing. 10,000 foot view.
I think it's safe. Oops, I just turned the alarm
You
on.
guys are out of here?
Here's a pen, anybody at 90?
That's probably yours. There's a sign in the pen.
I don't know, I have two in there.
Yeah, I'm taking them.
Extra. Go home, my dogs probably have their legs across by the time I
Here you
get
go.
home.
That's
Scott's.
Scott's.